Anyway, Time magazine also chose WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark as their athlete of the year. But, okay, here's the problem. A lot of conservatives are having a fit over her interview, and here's what they're so mad about. Watch.
I'm into the WNBA. Like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career. But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of.
Time magazine recently named WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark as their athlete of the year. However, controversy quickly followed as many conservatives took issue with her recent interview. Here's why they're so upset. Coming to the WNBA, as I've always said, I believe I've earned everything that has come my way throughout my career. But I also grew up admiring this league from a young age. My favorite player was Maya Moore. I've always understood what this league represents, and I recognize the incredible contributions of so many Black women who have built and uplifted this league over the past 25 plus years. That's something I deeply respect and acknowledge. The sports world is in a frenzy, and right at the center of the conversation is Caitlin Clark. The WNBA sensation has made a bold choice that's causing ripples across both the WNBA and NBA. She has chosen not to participate in the NBA's three-point contest. But let's be clear, this isn't just about skipping an event. This is a statement, a stand, a message to the basketball world.
I want to stop being coached. I never want to stop being told what's right, what's wrong, no matter how good I play, how bad I play. Like, there's always things to learn, things to get better at, and that's what I love about her is she holds me to a very high standard, and yeah, she's going to get on me because she knows there's still areas for me to improve, and, you know, this team relies on me a lot, whether it's emotionally or to score or to bring the energy, and I think that's just always something that, you know, she holds me to a high standard in that regard, and that's something I really...
Could Caitlin be pushing back against the NBA's tendency to use women's basketball as a promotional tool for their own benefit? Or is she ensuring that women's basketball commands the respect it deserves on its own terms? Whatever her reasons, her decision has sparked intense debates, with even ESPN unable to stop discussing it. Before we break down all the layers of this story, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Now let's dive into the drama. I never want to stop being coached. I never want to stop learning, no matter how well or poorly I play. There are always areas to improve, and that's what I love about my coach. She holds me to a high standard.
We just watched the 4 college years of Caitlin Clark, and a question sticks out. What can't she do? We are watching one of the greatest basketball players of all time.
She expects the best from me because she knows my team depends on me emotionally, for scoring, and for energy. That's something I genuinely appreciate. Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. She's a game changer. Every time she steps onto the court, she doesn't just compete, she reshapes what's possible in the sport. Before she emerged, the WNBA was struggling for mainstream recognition, trying to carve out its space in a sports world dominated by other leagues. But since her arrival, things are changing. Ratings are climbing, ticket sales are surging, and for the first time in years, the WNBA is becoming a hot topic in sports discussions. Her presence electrifies the game.
Code that's made every single WNBA player and star pissed. I'll get into it in just a minute, but I gotta be honest right from the start. I wouldn't be surprised if Caitlin Clark won the WNBA MVP next year. Seriously, she was the first rookie since Candace Parker in 2008 to be named All WNBA.
Turning casual spectators into dedicated fans. And yet, instead of celebrating her undeniable impact, some media outlets seem more focused on stirring unnecessary controversy around her name. We just watched 4 incredible college seasons of Caitlin Clark, and one question lingers. What can't she do? She's already one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen. This kind of pushback isn't new in sports. Whenever a generational talent emerges, critics inevitably try to downplay their impact, calling them overhyped or the product of media narratives. But let's set the record straight. Caitlin Clark isn't just influencing the WNBA. She is the reason the league's trajectory is shifting. She's bringing unprecedented attention and respect to the sport.
Spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. Do you know how we all know Caitlin Clark made the correct decision in telling Adam Silver to go kick rocks? Telling the NBA, you know what, maybe we'll revisit this in a couple days when some things that I want in writing are met, when some of my requirements are met. Maybe we'll revisit this when you guys get closer to All-Star Weekend and are really scrambling to find a reason for anybody to sit down and watch.
Take her recent decision as an example. Choosing the WNBA over the NBA's three-point contest wasn't just about scheduling. It was a declaration that the WNBA is not an afterthought. It's where she belongs, and it deserves her full focus. Her decision has undoubtedly ruffled feathers, particularly at ESPN. They had a different story planned, one where Caitlin stepped into the NBA spotlight, delivered viral moments, and fueled endless debates. When she shut that narrative down, it didn't sit well. Rather than embracing a moment that elevates women's sports, the media machine is eager to spin her choice as controversial or problematic. What Caitlin Clark is doing is rewriting the rules. She's proving that prioritizing the WNBA isn't just her personal decision. It's necessary for the league's growth. If this makes certain circles uncomfortable, then maybe this is exactly the shakeup women's sports have needed all along. Do you know how we can tell Caitlin Clark made the right decision? Because she wasn't afraid to push back. She wasn't afraid to tell Adam Silver and the NBA, maybe we'll revisit this later if my conditions are met. She wasn't going to let them dictate the terms. She knew they'd be scrambling for star power to keep their All-Star Weekend relevant, and she didn't give in. Her decision isn't about avoiding competition. It's about making a statement. She refuses to be reduced to a side act for the NBA's spectacle. Just last year, the NBA hyped up a three-point contest between Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu. It was historic, no doubt, and a win for women's basketball. But let's be honest, the NBA benefited from it far more than the WNBA did.
You are the first ever #1 draft pick in franchise history. How is it for you that in just your 4th full season, you've been a part of bringing the first championship to the franchise?
I mean, it's what we do. You know, wanting to come here and just continue to chip away, understanding what it is, the goals that we wanted to achieve, and there's no other organization that I would want to do it for than here. So just very thankful.
The event was framed as progress for women's sports, but the applause was directed toward the NBA for including them. Caitlin Clark understands this dynamic.
Ball inbound to Kylie Shook, 4 seconds left. Ionescu, a long three for the win, and she gets it! Sabrina Ionescu at the buzzer!
That's why her decision to debut at the WNBA's All-Star Weekend, instead of the NBA's, isn't just a scheduling choice, it's a firm stance. Women's basketball isn't a warm-up act for a bigger show, and by refusing to play along with that narrative, she's igniting an important conversation.
I think it's, you know, it's just life. Everybody goes through some of the same stuff that I've gone through, and a lot of people go through a lot worse. And I just try to remind myself every single day, like, how grateful I am to be in the position that I am. And, you know, I try to treat everybody the same way that, you know, that I would want to be treated. And I think it just speaks to the way I was raised and my parents raised me. You know, there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days. The girls are fired up. I hope that's them. But yeah, I think it's just, you know, you go with the flow a little bit, you know. Obviously, I think having a good circle around me and having a small circle around me of people that I really trust, and those are the people that you can always count on and lean on.
Some people are uncomfortable with it. Others are downright angry. Many expected her to embrace the crossover hype, to play along with ESPN's preferred narrative. Instead, she rewrote it. Rather than conforming to the script others had planned for her, Caitlin Clark is using her platform to uplift the WNBA. Yet, instead of applause for her loyalty, some analysts are treating her decision as a betrayal, like she's broken some unspoken basketball code.
You just have somebody that wants to say a couple things really quick.
So, hi, Coach Sides. This is WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Do we have the team all together?
Hello. Yes, ma'am.
All right. I know you guys are in Connecticut. Well, but good luck in tomorrow's playoff game. And is Caitlin Clark in the room?
She sure is.
Yeah, Caitlin, it feels like just yesterday when I called your name to the stage as the #1 pick in this year's draft. You held the Indiana Fever jersey for the first time, and what a record-breaking season for you and the entire team, full of outstanding performances. And I know all of you had hard work and dedication, and it's paid off with your...
But in reality, she's proving that she's not just an elite athlete. She's a leader unafraid to challenge the status quo. Adding another interesting layer to this story is Sabrina Ionescu, the New York Liberty star. She participated in last year's three-point contest against Steph Curry, and fans loved it. Despite being invited again this year, she declined. While she hasn't publicly shared her reasons, it raises questions. Are WNBA players starting to push back against the NBA's use of women's basketball? Do they feel like they're being used more for entertainment than for genuine investment in their league?
With Basketball Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo, who joins us this morning. All right, Rebecca, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, they've been in the Rookie of the Year conversation, but the question is, can either of them enter the MVP conversation?
Well, both of these young women have had incredible rookie campaigns, that's for sure. And when you look at the MVP conversation, of course, A'ja Wilson is the front runner there. She is just having a season like we've not seen before in terms of her scoring and rebounding combined. But when you look at these two rookies, I would not be shocked if we found Caitlin Clark in that conversation by the end of the year. Keep in mind that you vote for 5 players when you're voting for MVP. And so both A'ja Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Breanna Stewart, those will all be players who are in that top 5.
In last year's competition, it generated massive buzz, and they hoped to recreate that excitement by inviting Caitlin Clark. But she made a different choice. She is laser-focused on growing the WNBA. By choosing the WNBA's All-Star Weekend over the NBA's event, she's sending a clear message. The WNBA is strong enough to stand on its own, and she wants to be part of that growth. Now, this raises an exciting possibility. Could we see a high-stakes matchup between Ionescu and Clark at the WNBA All-Star Game? Could their choices spark a new rivalry that takes the league to new heights? One thing's certain. This year's WNBA All-Star Game